All right, here we go.
She-Hulk, Attorney at Law is one of the Disney Plus series that came out. We finally got She-Hulk in the MCU, and this is one of the worst written MCU shows we have gotten so far. I mean, Tatiana Maslany as She-Hulk, I feel is actually a good choice as She-Hulk. She was entertaining at times in the show as She-Hulk, but what the show truly fails, what makes the show so bad and awful is the writing. Like, the writing is just terrible. If whoever hired those people, fired them, because they don't know how to write a show. They definitely don't know how to write a superhero show. You can truly feel that they wrote their own personal agendas in the story to a superhero show. Like, you can feel that. Like, this doesn't feel like a superhero story. This feels like somebody ranting about the way they think they see the world. I mean, this is so bad on so many levels. This will be a spoiler review because I really feel like to talk about the show I will have to be spoiled. But I feel like I said, Tatiana Maslany gives a good performance at times and is entertaining at times at She-Hulk, but like the writing is so bad, it makes her character also very unlikable, because like her character switches motivation, switches perspective. Yes, no, it's just like it was very badly written, her character, not another character that make her much likable actually. As soon as from the first episode when we get this whole, oh, I'm better than you, than the Hulk, oh, and I've been to more trauma and I go to more, I can control my anger better than you. It's all this like, where are we going with this? It's like, hello, it's like the writers of the show never watched an MCU movie or never watched any storyline about the Hulk. You can really feel like the writers room are like, oh, Hulk, he's a man, right? Oh yeah, he sucks, he's bad, he's terrible. But She-Hulk, oh, she's better, she's stronger, she's this. You can really feel this woke written shit that they did with the show and with this character. And She-Hulk was always a fun character. I never read the comics, but always when in the animated shows when she would show up, she was a fun, entertaining character. And when it comes like to here, it's just like amateur hour. Like, seriously, they write characters that are unlikable. I mean, the only likable and fun character in the show is Daredevil, and he's like in for one episode basically. But like, even like the way they portray She-Hulk and the way they show She-Hulk, what I feel like they should have focused on, like her being a lawyer, her trying to figure out how to be a Hulk, but the way they execute it is just done very poorly and very bad. With Bruce and Jennifer talking, when he talks about why you don't want to listen, why you want to hear, it's like, okay, you can have her be stubborn and then later on learn that like people see her as a monster, which I kind of feel like they tried to do that but just failed miserably at it. I feel like you can even keep this scene, which was just like so atrocious to see, where she talks about she goes through more trauma than the Hulk, okay, but it's just like yeah, being hunted 2 years by the government and being on a cigar. I'm not gonna get into it, everybody got into it, but like, that was like the dumbest written scene. But I feel like you can have a scene like this if you then execute it later in the episode. I feel like, but they don't utilize it. They don't use like this character arc of her learning that lesson that being a Hulk is not as easy as she thinks it to be. No, we don't get that. We get stupid wedding episodes and some court episodes. I mean, this is She-Hulk. Also, there's no action in this one. Like, the amount of action that we get in She-Hulk, I mean, this is She-Hulk. This is a Hulk show. And the amount of fighting we got is like almost nothing. Like nothing. Because like action that we get in the scene is like bad. It's not even good action that we get in this show. I mean, and even when it comes to the villains, like Titania, oh my god, who wrote the character like this? I mean, yes, Titania is a character from the comics, but why does it have to be like some weird social media influencer written character? I mean, seriously, I mean, this is so bad. Every time her character show up, it was nothing but annoying and just bad acting, bad performances. It's just like, it was not a good character. It was such an unlikable character. Like, this whole episode of her being in court and suing the name is like, why do we need to do? Why? Who wrote this? Who wrote that episode? Why do we need to have this story told about She-Hulk? This is a story about She-Hulk, not about her name and everything. They don't utilize none of the good stuff that they could have had. And sometimes you can see like some of the things they wanted to do, but they're just too dumb. You can clearly tell that these writers never saw an MCU movie, never saw a Hulk storyline in the MCU movie that we have, because everything they do is just like, oh yeah, men bad, women good. It's like this woke written movement that we got now, which is just terrible. It's like the same doing the DC Harley Quinn show, but they actually executed better. It's just like you have every female character be smart and intelligent, every male character just be dumb, stupid, arrogant, and just terrible. I mean, if you look at all the guy characters in this show, they're just the worst of the worst. I mean, yes, there are guys that are like this, but like the amount, like every guy except for Daredevil is just awful. Awful. And this social commentary about this and that is just like, this is a show about She-Hulk. Yes, instead of focusing about social commentary and this and that, how about focusing on the damn character and telling actually a coherent story? Because there's no consistency in this story. There's no beginning, middle, and end. There's kind of a beginning, kind of origin story, which is just the most laziest written origin story I have seen in any superhero movie, TV show ever. Even in the comics, Bruce and Jennifer get into a car accident, but Jennifer was in such a critical state that had to give his blood to her, otherwise she would die, and it was a very difficult choice for him to make. But then she was accepted, she was excited to be She-Hulk, he saw this as a great opportunity. But in this version, she's like actually pissed about it, that she's She-Hulk, and now this and that, and the way they showed her getting her powers is just like, oh yeah, she got quickly she cut herself on a car and then quick few bloods, and oh, she's She-Hulk. It's like, what kind of origin story is that? I mean, seriously, it's just so bad. And what they do with Abomination, I was just like, oh, no. I was happy to see Abomination in Shang-Chi. I was like, ooh, we're gonna get Abomination. But like, they turned Abomination, this badass character. I remember seeing The Incredible Hulk in cinemas. Abomination was awesome. Like, Emilio Blonsky, he was this badass soldier who saw the power of the Hulk and then wanted to have that all also, and then went through everything to get this power and then turned to his monster. Now he turned into a Zen Buddha master. Like, who wants to see that? Who wants to see Abomination basically be a bitch and be like this Zen Dewey teddy bear, yeah, peace, love, and all that shit? Like, this is the Abomination. Like, this is a monster. He's an awesome character. Now he's just some bitch ass guy in a garden who gives cinemas and self-help groups. And I feel like, I know about character evolution, character growth, but like, they couldn't go in a more boring, uninteresting, and just bad way with Abomination. They turned Abomination into a fucking puppy. It's just like, he's not threatening at all. Like, this show really does, like, it gives us the most threatening characters and turns them into puppies, into like little bitches. And like, seriously, nothing more threatening is about them. Seriously. I mean, the villains are internet bullies. Like, no, I'm repeating to you. The villains are internet haters. That's the villain of She-Hulk. I mean, we have a show about a character that's like one of the strongest characters in Marvel, and we gave her internet bullies as the main villains, which this guy who's just like, oh my god, they even like, oh. Once I thought, like, because I was watching, like, okay, who's the villain? First I thought it was Titania, but like, please no, because like every time she was on screen I was just like, please just take her away, because that was just a bad character on its own. But it's just like, they have no actual villain to go against her. It's internet bullies. Even when Wong shows up, what I feel like, I'm gonna give this a little plus. I feel like episode 4 was kind of good because we got to see She-Hulk fight some demons, which was actually kind of cool, and Wong is just always fun to have in an episode. They couldn't even make him super entertaining in the show. And then we have, I feel like the best episode of this show is episode, I think 8, that is, with Daredevil. Charlie Cox is just amazing as Daredevil, and he literally saved that episode, because I feel like that was the only entertaining episode that we got. We actually got She-Hulk, I don't know, fight somebody and not sit in a damn courtroom all the damn time. I mean, yes, she's a lawyer, but even the scenes where she's a lawyer and trying to figure out stuff, it's just like, they're so boring and uninteresting. And then we have this episode where she fights about the name of She-Hulk, and then with some other damn episode about this dude who dies and everything. It's just it's just so unmemorable, so badly written. I feel like I said, episode 4 was kinda okay, and episode 8 with Daredevil was just like a really good episode. Now, if the rest of the show was like episode 8 with Daredevil and everything, She-Hulk could have been a good show. But like these writers have no idea how to write a superhero show. And episode 9 was just like, what the hell was that? I mean, seriously, and I know there's fourth wall breaking in this show, and they use it in such a bad and just like weird way that it doesn't add to the show. It doesn't give her like a different perspective when she has in the fourth wall break. I mean, it's just, they just use it because of lazy writing, because like you can really tell, like when they have nothing going on, or just have her say something and then because they have no idea what to do truly in the episodes. I mean, seriously, if you watch the episodes, every time she breaks the fourth wall, it doesn't give like a different perspective. I mean, yes, Deadpool also breaks the fourth wall in MCU, but he does it in a fun, characteristic, actually it's a likable character. But if you write She-Hulk in such an uninteresting character, and it's just like also at times She-Hulk is so unlikable written in the show that like it's not enjoyable to see her actually break the fourth wall. I feel like they kind of overdid it with the fourth wall breaking, especially with the last episode where she breaks out of Disney Plus and goes into Marvel Studios and talks to an AI called Kevin. She goes into the writer's room and says how bad the show is. I mean, if the writers themselves even talk about how bad the show is, it's like everything told. It's like, I mean, Marvel, seriously, fire those writers, because they have no idea how to write this show. I mean, seriously, they wrote a scene where they actually snitch on themselves, where they actually confirm that yes, we are terrible writers and we have no original ideas for a superhero show. And like, but we don't even get like traditional superhero throats. I mean, like seriously, this show is like terribly written, terrible characters. You have Megan Thee Stallion there for no reason. I mean, she doesn't add nothing other than just like to please the popular Gen Z kids. I mean, seriously. And to see She-Hulk twerk, I mean, like, I like characters having fun and goofing off. I like that. But like, the way the show was going, it was just didn't felt right at all. It didn't felt like also that something her character would just do like that. There's also like characters just like sometimes do things that feels out of character for them. And this also like shows another bad, terrible writing of the show. The Hulk, they don't even use him, and then to him all of a sudden have a son. I was just like, yes, Hulk has a son in the comics, but like wait, the way they just threw that in last second in the show, what I feel like, I don't know if you've seen, but that hairline from his son, like even Daredevil went, damn. You have to look at the show again. Overall, I feel like She-Hulk is just a really bad written show. It has bad writing, bad characters, only one truly good episode in it, and some scenes with Wong, but it's just like bad written, bad executed. We get this woke bullshit in the show, this social justice and gender, and this is just like a bad idea. What they should have done, they should have focused more on her being a Hulk and her maybe being a superhero or something, and her having an actual villain to fight and not some damn internet bullies or some damn Instagram influencer. I mean, seriously, this is a template if ever shows you like what to do not in a show. Watch She-Hulk, because they don't utilize the character in a fun way. They don't write the character in a fun way. They don't use the fourth wall breaking in a fun way or interesting way. They just kind of use it because they can. It's more like an excuse for lazy writing when they have no idea anymore. You really need to stop in shows to writing like all the female characters are great and awesome and all the male characters are just dumb idiots. It's like this woke written shows really have to stop, because like it's just, it doesn't make the show any better. It just makes the show lazy and bad. We don't need strong female characters. We need strong characters that are female. Do you notice the difference? Like, if you know the difference, it's like we need strong characters that are female, not female strong characters. Because every time they wrote female strong characters in the show, then we get all this agenda shit. But if we get strong characters that are female, we actually get good characters in the show. I really feel like if they've established She-Hulk before in the MCU, and this is a show about her, then you also could have like this whole inconsistency. Like I said, there's no story arc, there's no beginning and middle and end in this show. Like to have her like, oh, today we have this, today we have this. This could only have worked if we have her previously established and now she has her own show. Then you can do like a more not conceived story. But like you have no consistent story, you have bad written characters, Abomination is turned to a bitch. I mean, like the Hulk is just like, even boring. Professor Hulk is just so boring and uninteresting in the show. Like, I really was interested more what the hell he's doing on Sakaar, which may be World War Hulk we would see. I don't want to see Hulk World with Professor Hulk, because Professor Hulk is a bitch. I mean, seriously, he's such a... It was fun in Endgame, but like after that, I'm tired of Professor Hulk. I want the Raging Green Monster again. But I'm gonna give this show a 2 out of 10. She-Hulk Attorney Law, yeah. I mean, Phase 4 has its ups and downs. I mean, Moon Knight was awesome. I feel like Moon Knight is the best show out of the whole Marvel Phase 4. But like She-Hulk, please. I really hope that we will get better writers for season 2 if we get one, and we get like a better storytelling, because this is one of the worst MCU shows we have gotten so far, and I think it will stay the worst MCU show. I don't think you can do any worse than She-Hulk in MCU. Like, if the MCU managed to do something worse than She-Hulk, then damn, we really need some help, really need some new guidance. Or Kevin Feige, you need to hire some different people to help you with your storytelling, because this was just fucking awful. But yeah, thanks everybody for watching. As always, see you next time.